At another video, I was talking about the abstraction of concepts, that is, how abstract concepts are. And our whole reality is based on concepts, on identification with ideas, with names, and all that. But there is this concept that is very troubling. It is the concept of death, or the ceasing of life, the end of life. And when we look at nature, when we look at the universe, what do we see? We see that death is not the end. It is just a part of a complex and gigantic system of cycles. The universe works on a cyclic constant process of change. The cyclical nature of the universe is one of his greatest patterns, and it is easy to see on the microcosm and on the microcosmos and at the microcosmos. The planets, galaxies, or the life in nature, it's all working on a cyclic basis. And when we look at the human society nowadays, we have an increase of suicides. That is, more and more people are taking their own lives. And when we look at the data of that, the great majority of that people that commit suicide, they are not bad people, as society puts them. Because death is related to religion normally, and that is not right, because religion is a very arbitrary way to look at reality. Because, for example, in my case, I believe in reincarnation, because when I look at reality, when I look at how the universe works, it just don't adds up that death would be the end of that life, of that certain life. Life itself is too complex to end like that. Of course, we as humans, we regard ourselves as very special because we have rationality and all that, the capacity for reason. But when we look at death, it becomes a great taboo. You know, and that is not a very nice way to look at it. For example, for some time in my life, I had some problems in my psyche, and I wanted to take my own life. I committed to that self-destruct. But then I found some help. I worked on myself. I directed my attention to the tools I had in my hand to change that. And primarily, I understood that if I am a form of life, my greatest and most important function would be to just be alive. That's it. Of course, we all have our problems. We all have our psychic problems and all that. But when we look at life, we can see that we are enough. When we look from the perspective of the planet, each person is unique and is a manifestation of life. And we can die at any moment. Everything is possible in this reality. So life can end. You just have to snap your fingers. We are so fragile, and yet we keep struggling to find meaning to life. So when a person is born and when a person dies, it's almost the same thing. Of course, I'm looking at the concept itself, but that's the thing, my friends. Of course, the person that takes its own life is exercising freedom of choice because she chose that. And that is not wrong per se. Or can understand that that person did it because she's in a prison of depression, of anxiety, of fears and all that. But we have to look beyond those identifications, of those extremes. Because life is a great process of becoming. It's just a process of change, of constant change and becoming. We are in a constant state of becoming. So we can choose life. We can choose to be what we are primarily. A human being. A being like a tree, like a dog, like a flower. We are all the same. We are all part of consciousness. And consciousness, my friends, never dies. We can see it in how nature works. The cyclic nature of everything. The beginning is also the end, and the end is also a beginning. We have to detach ourselves from such concepts. After all, everything is mandala.